Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends, guys. Welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady, where entitled people seem to think that everyone's put on earth to serve them. And in today's episode, guys, Karens are getting embarrassed left and right. I hope you enjoy the stories today. Hit subscribe if you haven't, and as always, you can send or link your post to this email right here. So I've really debated telling this story, but it is what it is, and my significant other approves, so what the heck. Yesterday, I was at the red-themed big box store, and all of our Christmas shopping is done, so my significant other and I were picking up some knickknacks and a few groceries. I was just browsing, and that's when my arm gets grabbed hard, and I'm spun to face this older man. I immediately recognize this man, and let's call him Bob, not his real name. I then interrupt his tirade and say, "Hi, Bob. I see you've still got that scar on your cheek." As I'm saying this, Bob turns pale as a ghost and he runs away. Why? That's the more interesting part. So years prior to this, I was in the same store during the same time of year. Yesterday, I was wearing this make your eyes bleed Christmas sweater, but when Bob and I first met, I was wearing a nice Hugo Boss pantsuit as I'd just gotten off work. At any rate, I was putting one of those really fancy crock pots that did everything back on the shelf. Now, my mom knew I was wanting one for the kitchen, so I would hold off for now, and if I didn't get one for Christmas, I'd probably be able to find one super cheap in an after Christmas sale. So I turn and start pushing my cart along, and that's when my ponytail got grabbed and it was yanked hard. Thankfully, it was more discomfort than outright pain. So I turn and this guy lets go of my hair. So there's this guy and he's about 6'2" and I'm 5'4". The guy looks to be in his mid-50s, wearing expensive clothes and jewelry. Facing him, I could make out what he's saying. The guy says, "How dare you ignore me like that? If I had more time, I'd put you in your effing place. Now get the F over here and help me." I tell him, "I don't work here." I then turn around and start to walk away, and the guy says, "Do your effing job." He then grabs my arm and swings me around again, getting 3 inches from my face, screaming and spitting at me saying, "What the F is wrong with you? You can't talk to me like that." Now at this point, Bob made his worst mistake. He knots up his hand in my turquoise top and raised his other hand like he was going to slap me. At that point, I had enough of Bob, and I need to mention here that I spent a lot of my time in the Corps doing hand-to-hand instruction. So Bob and I do-si-do for a couple of seconds, and then on the way down, the side of Bob's face hits the edge of the bottommost shelf and laid his cheek open pretty good. I had my knee in his back, and my arm was torqued up so he wasn't going anywhere. Due to all that noise, with Bob screaming, hitting the shelf, etc., there were several people looking to see what happened, including a store associate and my significant other. I don't remember this part, probably from the adrenaline, but my significant other swears that I told Bob to stop moving so I don't have to hurt him anymore. I also don't remember asking for someone to call the police, as this a-hole tried to assault me. So the police arrive, I release Bob, I get handcuffed, EMTs try to fix Bob's face, and arguing ensues. Bob claims that I attacked him first. My significant other asks to check the security footage, and they do. Bob's arrested, and he's eventually charged with assault. I have to go and fill out a statement, but I'm let go, and Bob was found guilty of assault. I didn't see Bob again until yesterday. The guy was older, heavier, and he didn't have expensive clothes or jewelry this time. I just waved by as he ran away. Guys, you know what they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and I have a feeling that Bob will soon learn a painful lesson again if he doesn't stop aggressively grabbing customers. And I also love the fact that he remembered OP, and he thought, "Oh crap, I'd better get out of here." So me and my girlfriend were hanging out in the store that had a little bit of everything, when she decides to look for some covers for her phone. I was looking at tech stuff, when suddenly a lady comes up to me. I was wearing jeans and a red polo, and I guess the lady mistook me for an employee, even though they had blue uniforms. So the lady comes up to me and says, "Hey, can you tell me where I can get this item?" I look around for a second, before looking back at her and said, I don't know, I don't actually work." The woman interrupts me before I could say the magic words, "I don't work here," and she says, "You brown people are all the same. You don't know how to treat customers. You're disgusting." I just shrug off what she said, and I'm about to go get my girlfriend and tell her the story about the crazy lady. But before I could move, I kid you not, she reaches into her basket, grabs a body spray, and she starts spraying at me, and some got into my eyes, blinding me. The woman then says to me, "It serves you right for being lazy." Meanwhile, I'm just screaming help. Hearing me scream, my girlfriend and staff start running over to me, yelling. Before I could say anything, I could hear the employees shouting at the woman that I didn't work here, and that's when she realizes it. The police are called, and I guess staff didn't let her leave. She ends up getting arrested, and she's crying, saying she didn't do anything wrong. The police asked if I'd like to press charges, and I said yes. Now, even if I was an employee, that's no way to treat people. Treat others as you wish to be treated. Yeah, guys, so this is a new one. I've read stories where Karens have attacked people with basically everything. But body spray, wow guys, and it's funny that she was screaming that she did nothing wrong and shouldn't be arrested, like somehow dousing a complete stranger with a can of body spray is okay. And guys, I just want to add that she's lucky that OP wasn't severely allergic to body sprays or anything like that, because that would have been the worst mistake of that woman's life. So this happened a couple of years ago, and I think below is a good remembrance of the event. So there was a chain restaurant located next to a strip mall less than 5 minutes away from where I work. I'm often in there, either by myself or with colleagues, and I've had a few I don't work here moments, but this one takes the cake. I think it comes from me being dressed in business casual and usually having a quick chat to some of the servers in the dining area. On this particular day, I decided to stop for lunch. I was in jeans and a dark blue polo shirt. I spoke briefly to one of the servers and then slipped into a stool at the bar. The bar was pretty quiet, so my beer and food order was taken in a matter of moments. As usual, I get the lunchtime special. Unlimited soup and salad with an entree, and being a regular, there was no need to consult the menu. My order was placed and a glass of tall suds was in front of me in under a minute. The soup and salad station is located to the rear of the restaurant, and you have to walk through the restaurant area to get there. At lunchtime, there's normally only one section of the dining area open, so the easiest path is through the unused one as it's empty. I do what I normally do, head down to get my salad and then go back for the soup. I didn't hear anything as I went down to the salad bar, but I remember hearing an "excuse me" as I was returning with my bowl. I set that down and head back for my soup. Again, I hear an "excuse me," but I'm not thinking it's addressed at me because why should it be? I get my soup and bread and head back to the bar. I then see a woman rise from a table and step out into my path. At that, I move to one side, thinking she's on her way to the salad bar, but she's checking my every move as if she's going in for a tackle. I'm within a few steps of her, and she's got a face like she's been chewing a bunch of bees. The woman says to me, "What the heck is your problem? Do you employees not listen here?" Hearing her say that, I'm confused, and now it's my turn to say "excuse me." The woman says, "I've been trying to get your attention for over 10 effing minutes." I say to her in confusion, what? The woman goes on and says, "I know you're ignoring me on purpose. I know your problem. You see a single mom with 2 kids, and you don't want to bother serving me because you'll get no tip." At this point, I try to utter those famous words, but the woman's on a roll. She goes on and says, "I've been here for over 10 minutes, and none of you lazy monkeys have even come over and given us silverware or offered us drinks. And you effing ignore me on purpose. And don't you dare say you didn't hear me because I saw you turn your head away from me." Now, as the woman's taking in more air, I say it. I say to her, "Look, I don't work here." And that drives her insane. The woman says, "Don't you give me that crap. You're telling me you decided to put on the uniform and not serve people food? I'm gonna have your job for this. Who's in charge around here?" At that very moment, the manager appears, and he addresses me by name and asks what the problem is. And before I can speak, she's off again wearing a grin, saying, Well, you don't work here, yet your boss knows your name? Let me tell you, I hate pranks." And the woman then turns to the manager and says, "This idiot here has treated me like garbage. He's been rude, he's ignored me over a dozen times, and he thinks because I'm a single mom, I'm not worth his time. You guys don't serve single moms. I'll have you know that I'm a paying customer of this joke of a restaurant, and your staff have left me and my kids sitting without even a hi. You need to fire that jerk right there. And I expect that you'd better take care of me and my kids. I'm not paying for anything after the way I've been treated. I want both of your names as well, as I'm gonna make sure that your big bosses know what's going on here. And if you don't fire that man right now, I'm gonna make sure that they do. And then, I'll make sure your boss fires you." The manager says, "Okay, ma'am, here's my card." And he hands her his business card. She then looks to me and says, "Your name, what is it?" The woman doesn't have a pen, but the manager hands her one, and of course, she asks me to spell out my name, savoring each letter. He then tells her, I'm gonna have to do my job here, ma'am, and I'll need to establish the facts. And could you please watch the color of your language? Let's start at where you're sitting. She then points back to one of the large tables where 2 kids around 8 or 10 years old are sitting. She then says, we haven't even been given drinks or silverware yet, and He then cuts her off and says, if I'm gonna sort this out, I need to speak to the person who sat you there and find out why you haven't been assigned a server. She says to him, you don't need to be doing that. What you need to be doing is firing this jerk. Manager tells her, ma'am, please work on this with me. I'm trying to establish the facts for your complaint. She says, I know effing well what you're doing. You are trying to save your ass, and probably his too. I want to see this idiot fired. Manager says to her, please ma'am, could you please stop using profanity? There's families in here. I then notice that the regular noise of the restaurant is nowhere near its usual level. And I look over to the dining area, and we certainly have most of its attention. The woman then points at me and starts to speak and says, are you going to? And that's when the manager holds up his hand and says, ma'am, please understand one thing, I can't fire guests. Now that just pissed her off even more, and she says, what are you trying to pull here? This prick is wearing the restaurant's uniform, and he's running around with food in his hands. Is that what you... It's at this point the manager has enough and says, ma'am, please stop. Will you please take a good look at this gentleman? She looks at me, and the manager goes on and says, he's wearing a blue button-up shirt and jeans. Our uniform is a black shirt with our logo and black pants. And you'll also notice that he's not even wearing an apron, which all of our servers wear while on duty. And if you take a good look down to the end of the restaurant, you'll see where the self-serve bar is. This is why the gentleman is carrying cold soup now. She then stares at me, looking me up and down, and then looking around, probably trying to see if what she's hearing is true. The manager then tells her, there's a lot I can and can't do to and for guests. And as I said, it's not in my power to fire them. Now, I can make them leave if they're disrupting other guests or staff or causing problems for the restaurant. And you fall into the latter. The woman's about to speak again, but the manager gets in first and says, I can also call the police to assist me, so may I kindly suggest that you gather up your kids and leave. And if you wish to take this further, the website address is on my card, and you'll find the corporate contact information. The exit is this way. I wait until they're out of my path and return to the bar, and I get a few questions on what happened. I answered them the same way, that she thought I worked here. The manager then said he'd have to write a report about the incident, and asked if I would give my contact details, which I did. Now, the lady did contact corporate, as I got a phone call from some lady asking to give my version of events, although I have no idea what tale she told them, or even if they took any action against her. The restaurant did send in the reports along with the CCTV that recorded the incident. And about 2 weeks later, I get a letter from corporate thanking me for my cooperation and a $50 gift card. Yeah, so it sounds to me like this woman did this all to herself, and I'm willing to bet that the woman just came inside the restaurant, sat down at a random table where no servers knew they were supposed to serve her, and then the entitlement just snowballed into what it became. And seriously, did she really have to keep emphasizing that she somehow was not served because she was a single mom? Like, I don't know about you guys, but when I see a mom out with her kids, I don't immediately think, oh, that's a single mom right there. But hey, maybe she uses that as some sort of pass that's supposed to get everyone to be like, oh, we never knew you were a single mom. Let us give you the most special treatment ever. So this story goes like this. On this day, I'm asked to go get some groceries, and I tend to shop at Wood Guys. It's a nice big store with great service and great variety. I take my cousin Paris with me because she needs a few things. Now, an important thing to note is that I'm 6'3" and black. My cousin Paris, not her real name, is not. She's as white as the snow-capped peaks of mountains. Now, a little bit about Paris is she has baby blue eyes, platinum blonde hair, dimples, and looks like someone fused Billie Eilish and Phoebe Cates together and made them snow white. A lot of people say that she's very pretty, which is actually relevant to the story. Up until this point, everything's going well. Paris and I split up to do our own shopping. So I head off to make some life health decisions about some chips. I want to get the flaming hot Doritos, maybe get some Rico's nacho cheese. Now, I'm very seriously in consideration, and this is probably why I didn't hear the lady when she called me the first couple of times. I only notice her when she walks up. The woman was white, middle-aged, and dressed like she was 20. Not a good look. I remember scoffing at her brand new Buccaneers jersey, but she had on a Patriots coat and booty shorts. I'm thinking all sorts of negative stuff from the start. The woman starts up with the, "Are you gonna help me or not?" in a very rude tone. The woman has her hands on her hips and she's doing the whole neck shaking thing. And I'm like, huh? So she starts listing things, saying she asked for this and that, and for me to go see where the butcher was. He apparently wasn't at his post. Now I was confused and asked her what the heck she was going on about, and she gets mad, telling me that she already asked all this and wouldn't have to repeat herself if I listened. She didn't say it like that, she insulted me, but I don't for the life of me remember what she said. I was too busy trying to figure out why she was talking to me. It takes me a moment to realize that she thinks I work here, and I politely tell her that she's mistaken, we've never spoken, and I do not work here. She then tells me that she sees me here all the time, and that she just spoke to me a few minutes ago, and that she isn't stupid. I told her I didn't think she was stupid, that she was just mistaken. I then went to tell her that I'm not even dressed like I work here. And that's when things go from weird to this woman is insane. So Paris pokes her head out of the aisle behind me and she asked if I can grab one of the boxes of noodles at the top. I apologized to the woman and dismissed myself from the lady's presence to go help Paris. This was apparently a bad move because watching me help Paris get her ramen and then grabbing several other things off the high shelves really pissed the lady off. The woman starts in at me, loud as a banshee, and she's screaming, "Ha! I knew you worked here!" And then she starts yelling, and her language is colorful, and she seems to have a particular stick up her rear because she thinks I'm helping Paris because she's young and pretty, instead of helping a woman like her. Now I must have had a look on my face because she gives me a look that says, "I'll have you know that plenty of men find me attractive." And then she said some pretty disparaging things at Paris's expense. My cousin and I are not that close. In fact, she's a bit of a spoiled brat and our relationship is contentious at best. She and her sister are usually selfish, big-headed, and disrespectful. However, she's my cousin, and you best believe that you're not gonna disrespect her in my presence. I then say to her, "Look lady, I understand that you're having some sort of identity crisis here," gesturing to her outfit. "But I can assure you that I do not work here, and my cousin's not some hot girl that I'm helping instead of you. We've never spoken before, and despite what you believe, we do not all look alike." The woman then accuses me of calling her racist, and she says, "I'll have you know that I've dated black guys." Which Paris then chimes in, letting her know that she can choke down all the black D's that she wants, but that doesn't make her not racist. It did take a bit, but the commotion finally got the attention of a worker who comes over. Now he's a black guy. He's as tall as me, carrying several items in his hands, and I cannot express how much he looks nothing like me. I then turn to midlife crisis, and I can see the recognition on her face when she looks at him. The guy immediately starts asking if there's a problem, and then he starts handing her things, apologizing because the item she was looking for had been in the area it's supposed to be in, but it was just moved from where she remembered it was, which is code for "you should have taken 5 seconds to look around." The woman is stunned silent for like 2 whole minutes, like you could see the clockwork going on in her head. She wants to say something, but she keeps looking up, trying to figure out how she mistook me for this guy. She then shoots Paris a dirty look because she's giggling like an idiot. The lady wants to say something so bad, but she holds back to her credit. Her skin then reddens like a tomato and her face looks like it's going through emotions, like she's having a heated conversation in her head. And then she starts stammering. I know she wants to continue the argument, but she's lost all footing, because I step to the guy to illustrate how we look nothing alike. And Paris is laughing her ass off by now. I look at the guy and say, "Dude, she just confused me for you. I mean, can you blame her? We could be twins." The guy then looks at me funny for a moment and then realized what happened. I very politely but very condescendingly tell the lady, "I'm happy you found your man, and I hope the rest of your day is exceptional." I find being polite is a better F you than actually saying F you. Paris then hit her with a "have a nice day, Karen," with no emphasis on the Karen, and we just walked away. Unfreaking believable, guys. All I can say, kudos to OP for finding humor in that situation. Like, I actually thought that woman was going to accuse OP of kidnapping or something, but yeah. And that, my friends, brings us to another end of our /IDontWorkHereLady. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's stories. If you did, hit that thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing so you don't miss these crazy Karen stories. And if you missed the last episode on the channel, it's an r/entitled people episode, where a random woman knocks on Opie's door and won't stop harassing her to give up her house, because it's Karen's turn to live in that house. Guys, it's another ridiculous tale, so go check it out if you haven't. And myself and Stevie Boy will see you guys in the next one. We love you.